So when we think about racial profiling is not a deviance in law enforcement behavior, it's the expected law enforcement behavior. Because during this period, who enforced the segregation laws? If the black kid had the temerity to go into the whites-only swimming pool, who came? The local police. How were all of the race codes enforced? By the local police. So it's now the son, the nephew, the grandson of the cops who enforced those laws who are today the police commanders and law enforcement officers today. White high school kids today use cocaine at a rate that is 3 times the rate that African American kids use cocaine. When I tell this to the Rotary Club or other groups that I speak to, largely white, they're shocked. They can't believe it. Because hard drugs like cocaine, that's a black drug. White people, that's not the drug problem is a black problem. If I say, like the slate cleaver, today we're going to talk about the problem of youth at risk. Okay, youth at risk. And what is, in your thought balloon, in the image of, I want you to visualize a youth at risk. What is the skin color of the youth at risk that pops into your mind? Is it a kid who looks like you? Is it a kid in college? Or is it a black kid in the city? So that the very terminology is not explicitly racial, it carries racial messages. And that the role, the power of the war on drugs is to maintain white privilege. That's its role in American society. So that if I am a white businessman and someone comes to me and applies for a job, and it's a person of color, well, I guess I have to do more of a background check on them, I guess. I probably have to require a drug test. But if I get a young white person who comes in, well, they're not immediately associated with, if they're all clean cut, they've been on the XYZ club, they didn't put SSDP on their resume, so, I don't have to make assumptions. I don't make assumptions. I don't make assumptions about their criminal deviance. I don't make presumptions about their criminal deviance. So that part of what we are working to struggle with is a system that is designed, now in its social function in American culture, not to protect lives, not to reduce crime, not to protect public health, but is designed to continue to maintain the worst features of our culture, which is the maintenance of white privilege. So, these are some other kinds of thoughts then. Having, I think, attempted to sort of lay out what I think the moral imperative of our work is then to sort of suggest to you that no matter what you are interested in intellectually or as a future profession, whether you're interested, no matter what that might be, from political science to art to medicine to education to environmental studies, that in all of them, drug policy is an issue and plays a role, and that you should, as much as you can, combine your passion for justice that underlies your work in drug policy with your intellectual activities, and to educate and seduce your professors to that point of view, and to recruit them, and to bring them in, and to think about strategies where they can begin to look at the issue and recognize the moral commitment that they have as scholars and as the conveyors of cultural information to be involved in this work. So that thinking about how do I set up a forum in which we invite as the moderator the chairman of the psychology department, or the chairman of the environmental studies department, or the chairman of the pre-medical program. Or you want to think about how the faculty is constantly being pulled in because they really want to work with you. That's why most of them are educators. To sort of think about bringing them in and their interests, because whatever they're interested in, they may not know what you know. And they will be, in fact, fascinated to learn it, and will be energized to recognize the relevance of what they're interested in to the classroom and how to make their lectures and their presentations and their material more valuable to you and to your peers. So seduce your professors. Another thing that, intellectually, of course.
Activism.
I'm sorry?
Activism. Macking it and activism.
Workshop on that.
Yeah. That'll be it.
The next thing then is that this work is an enormous opportunity for you to develop skills that you're not going to learn in the classroom. Tragically, our educations are, in their formal sense, are extremely limited. Can you learn how to study to take an exam? Can you write a paper? What did I leave out?
Critical thought?
What?
Critical thought?
Oh, critical thought! Critical thought, yes. Well, in some institutions that's actually encouraged. It's hard to teach, but sometimes that's a part of it, sometimes it's not. But rarely are you actually graded on the sophistication of the criticalness of your thought. And often professors find that a little threatening. Because after all, the thoughts they're presenting are theirs. If you're going to be critical, it sounds like you're criticizing them. Very, very risky. There are lots and lots of other skills that you need in the workplace that you can use as citizens. And SSDP then as a place, and this non-conference that we're going to have, will be a terrific place to begin to think about learning and using those kinds of skills. The skills of communicating to other kinds of audiences, other than in the academic context. The skills of political organizing. Now those skills of political organizing, I'm just finished a term in July as president of the PTA at my daughter's elementary school. Now, it was not a matter that I had to campaign for that job. They were quite happy that I was willing to do it. But the skill of how do I work in a group? How do I do problem solving? How do I think about what are the political dimensions that face our elementary school in a large county bureaucracy? How do we make sure that our school gets the funding it needs, vis-a-vis all the other well-organized PTAs for all the other elementary schools? The skills of thinking about how do I present myself at a public meeting? How do I present myself in an informal setting? These are the tools of being a citizen in a democracy, and they're usually not taught. And SSDP is a place for you to do. Misha, am I out of time?
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, then,
You've got like a couple more minutes.
Well, then what I want to do,
a couple.
what I want to do then is to open it up for a couple of questions.